Hello. Thank
Hi.
you for coming back. This is K&K Speaks. I'm Katie Shaull, and this is...
I'm Rebecca Booth, and this is Skelly. It's going to be a permanent fixture.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I think right now, Skelly's like drumsticks, but we're going to try and implement Skelly into maybe something today. But right now, thanks to you,
It's Phil Collins in the air tonight.
We
We got it.
Do 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 do.
Yeah.
We have no idea who the drummer was because I don't think it was Phil Collins, but whoever the drummer was in that song was apparently very instrumental.
I can't play the drums.
Well, I know, but apparently it's stuck in her head. So, kudos to you, Phil Collins drummer,
Okay.
in that song. Boundaries.
Boundaries.
So, are they good? Are they bad? Should we have them? You know,
It depends.
All those questions.
Depends.
All depends.
Mm-hmm.
Therapists, we deal with boundaries a lot.
Yeah. A lot.
A lot. In the words of Forrest Gump, a lot.
I don't think he says that.
That's like one of his coined phrases.
I think it's the shrimp guy.
No.
Okay. All right.
Now you gotta watch it.
Okay.
Proved you wrong.
You can watch Magic Mike.
Yeah, that's the only one I could grab. Uh-huh.
Watch out. Skelly's going to pop your tires.
Okay.
Boundaries.
Yes. Verbal boundaries.
Am I talking?
Yes, what are verbal boundaries?
Boundaries. It's an invisible line that defines what behaviors are acceptable for an individual. Boundaries can be physical, psychological, emotional. Sorry, these are probably distracting for everybody. And verbal. Boundaries can also exist with time. Like, I won't answer the phone after 6, and it will be on Do Not Disturb.
I was just going to ask you if you're waving some planes in.
This is like my fidget. Oh my God, I could wave.
You were doing like this while you were talking, and I'm like,
Sorry,
are you waving
I took
planes?
my meds. It's just...
It's okay. It was just really super funny just
I'm
watching
sorry.
you. You're like,
Okay.
yeah, verbal.
Sorry.
Work at the airport for some extra money. I'm just
Fidgets.
saying. Skelly hands are coming in handy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, an in-depth explanation of what the specific boundaries are. So, verbal boundaries. I feel like no.
So, like you said, the verbal boundaries are just what it kind of says. Like, you are just saying, like, out loud to another person, this is just kind of what my line is. Right here, drawing it in the invisible sand.
Not sand, cement, because sand can be messy and that can...
In the invisible cement that I have built. Okay. Therapists use these a lot. We also say these in writing in our forms, a lot of times in our policies. But she used an example. My phone is going to be turned off after 5 o'clock. So you're welcome to leave me a message, but I will not get back to you until the following day when I start answering my phones at 9. So that's more of a verbal boundary. Another verbal boundary can be, I often sometimes will use this, is that, if you start yelling or getting aggressively verbal with me, then I'm just going to remove myself, or when you're more calm, I'd be more than happy to talk with you. That can be more of a verbal boundary, that you're not going to just sit there and have someone yell and scream at you.
Right.
So that is more of a verbal boundary. Like in a workplace setting, it could be that, hey, if you could wait until I'm sitting at my desk, then you could come into my office if you need to let me know something. That could be in a workplace setting type of example.
So other examples of like verbal boundaries being broken is when somebody It's not allowing you to speak or be heard, screaming, yelling, raising their voice, saying mean and derogatory things about you, or to you or about you, and gossiping about you.
So these can also happen at workplace. Like if you're in a meeting and you would like to like say something, or if you do to try to say something, it's not acknowledged, or you really feel kind of stifled by when you speak up and are trying to ask a question.
Yeah, like yep, I'm getting invited to a staffing, and the person who's running the staffing always talks over everybody, and I'm pumped to do some verbal judo.
Okay, but very appropriately and nicely.
It will be appropriate nicely. I'm just excited to do it.
Okay, setting some boundaries.
Setting boundaries.
Yes, please allow me to speak. Yeah. Yes, so those, I mean, can honestly, they can happen in any place. So
Yeah. The next one, psychological, emotional. So, like, you know, if your friends are, no, I don't want to go that route. Let's see. So, like, say if I told you something in confidence and you call the radio station and you're like, listen here, I need you to put
wow.
this, but I need you to put this on air and be like, Becca plays with skeleton hands.
And you literally were like, back up with your skeleton hands.
Yeah. And they put it on air, and I'm like,
That's
oh.
really extreme, but okay. I went to a radio station.
Well, yeah. So, psychological, I'm going to slash your tires. Psychological and emotional. People, how they break the boundary is like they're lying to you, manipulating you through your low self-esteem, which is a whole other area. Using what you said to them in confidence against you, like Katie calling the radio station about my skelly hands, criticizing you because Katie's criticizing my Woodstock, and people being demanding, judging, making fun of your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs, making you feel guilty or responsible for them in situations. Ooh, that gets a bee in my bonnet. Demanding your time or energy, shaming and embarrassing you, bullying you, making you believe that their thoughts and beliefs are more important than yours. And a lot of people are like, how does this happen? Like, don't people hear this and just like say something?
It gets slid in there.
It gets slid, like, and it's not always daily. Skelly hands.
You know what would be funny is if you kind of like put the skelly hands and used them as your actual hands.
If it wasn't so freaking hot, I would.
You know, then just the skelly hands would just be poking out. No, then you would just literally, you know how people, you know, like use like little doll hands, and
maybe Skelly will surprise you next time.
Yeah, and just it'd be like the skeleton fingers.
But next time we tape, it's supposed to be 5,000 degrees outside, so Skelly sweater won't be happening.
Okay.
But it's a cycle, right? So people will slide these things in, and then eventually you're like, oh, maybe that is true. And then your friends are like, that's not cool. And then you don't know what to believe.
Or you may have been friends for a long period of time, and so it's just kind of been there, and you may just not be picking up on stuff until, you know, someone points it out, like,
or you weren't given
notice that, or, you know.
Or you weren't given good examples as a child. Like you saw boundaries being busted all the time.
Yep.
The other type of boundary is physical, so people getting into your personal space, toddlers, touching you without your consent, touching your belongings, damaging your personal property, violating your privacy, so checking your phone, social media, email, etc.
This is something that is worked on a lot in therapy, especially like kids, and, you know, even adults can struggle with this. I know when working with kiddos, I have a lot of kiddos that obviously I am really not a person to be running up and hugging, even though they would like to really show like their emotions and how much they like me, but really trying to show that boundary that, hey, let's try and give a high five instead. If you would really like to show me how excited you are to come to session today, give me a high five, instead of a hug. So really trying to teach those appropriate boundaries. One of the more challenging, I would say, diagnosis to work with is reactive attachment disorder.
Oh, yeah.
Because they struggle the most with appropriate boundaries. So it's kind of like the caretakers that they may currently be with, or parents they may currently be with, whoever's taking care of them. It's kind of like, oh, I love you this minute and I hate you the next minute. And they may just go up to people that they've met and they'll want to sit on their laps. They'll want to give them hugs. And so
Tell them
that's
your life story.
and so that's when like professionals, like therapists and play therapists, really try and work on those boundaries. So, as my example earlier, want to come up and just hug you first thing when they're meeting you, and that could be a complete stranger and not appropriate. So that's when we try and redirect and say, hey, you can give me a high five or like a fist bump or something instead. So really try to work on those being more appropriate.
Yeah. And most of the time, most in the bell curve, most people will respect your boundaries when you explain what they are and and, and will expect. Sorry. People in the bell curve will respect your boundaries, but on the flip side is you need to be able to respect theirs.
Correct.
And explain it like, yo, I don't like being touched, but like, I'm happy to see you. Just know that I'm just not a hugger. And that's cool. Um,
So, for example, I really try and respect clients' boundaries. So, if I'm sitting behind my desk and I feel like maybe to move from behind my desk to a chair that's beside the client to work a little bit more closely, I will ask if that is okay. So there is a lot behind that. Um, People may have post traumatic stress, trauma related responses. And so they may feel really uncomfortable with someone approaching them, sitting next to them. So I will always ask if that is okay. I will ask, is it okay if I sit next to you? Is it okay if I move a little closer to you? And so hopefully that's just being respectful due to what they've experienced, but also trying to build that rapport, therapeutic rapport, but also trying to show the boundaries and just trying to, there's a fly on my mic, model boundaries is kind of what the word I was trying to find. So,
um, again, this is like the bell curve. People who break your boundaries are often not subtle, but it also depends on the situation, so on and so forth. And unfortunately, the more the person resists, ignores that person's attempts to engage, the more obvious, desperate, and loud and intrusive they're going to become as they increase their behaviors to get your attention. So I think this next part is where where you and I come in at, is a lot of people feel guilty for having boundaries. They are often worried they are hurting other people's feelings, and this can be, not always the case, a result of past experiences such as childhood abuse, being blamed for the adult's feelings and reactions, and low self-esteem, and a bunch of other past stuff.
So maybe a parent, because their child had experienced physical abuse in the past or the sexual trauma, they'll just let them kind of get whatever or do whatever. And that's not having the boundary, or, being a parent is setting the boundaries, the expectations. And so that's kind of what that example is related to. children still need to thrive on knowing the boundaries and expectations and kind of the rules, I guess, per se. And then, just kind of working on the symptoms and all of that stuff in therapy, and then can help you kind of navigate through that.
Right. I also want to add, if you are setting a boundary and that person is mad that you're having the boundary, then that boundary needed to be there to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not on you, that's on them. That is their problem.
Right.
I'm worried I'm going to do this and it's going to fly across and hit Mediaverse. Just whack. Sorry.
Oh, my head hurts.
Scully's hanging out of their eye.
Not what we need today.
No. So, like we said in our previous episode, setting boundaries is a form of self-care. It kind of creates guide rules of how you want to be treated and how you want to operate in society and or at home. They let others know what is not acceptable and what is acceptable. And for therapists, people in the helping professions, I should say, having boundaries helps avoid burnout, stress, and anxiety. Whatever you say goes, no matter what others may think, feel, or believe. And you are not responsible for the feelings, actions, beliefs of others or the way they react to the boundaries you've set.
Mm-hmm.
If I could just tattoo that on my forehead for everybody, that'd be great.
Oh, I don't know. Face tattoos.
You'd still hire me. You'd still keep me.
Yeah, maybe you could just make it a neon sign that you can just suction cup.
You can put it on that sign thingy I gave you.
Yeah. Just face tattoos. I mean, if people have them, that's. I mean,
Don't yuck a yum.
What?
Don't yuck a yum.
Okay. I always say that you can control how you put things out there, but when you kind of put it out there, the other person is responsible for how they take it and respond to it. So that's how I kind of say it, because a lot of people worry about like, oh, what if they take it wrong? What if that's on them, like Rebecca said. So you have control. You can put it out there respectfully, nicely, and then it's out there, and then the other person would be responsible on how they react and take it and accept it.
Right. And, with boundaries, you have the right to change your mind and change the boundaries as you grow and develop into whatever. You don't need to feel that you owe anyone anything. Anyone who mistreats you, is disrespectful to you, refuses to hear you, or has no intention of changing, it's not worth your time or energy. Just be ready to walk away without fear or guilt. But it's hard. Like, I just want to give that, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
And scary. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did 3-4 pages.
Yeah.
Holy.
You're just on a roll.
Okay. So how to set boundaries. This is asked of us probably daily. Get to know yourself. Be comfortable with your beliefs, your emotions, and feelings and ideas. Explore what boundaries you want or need. Like, every situation is different. Decide what boundaries you have set now and what you might want to change. And know that boundaries with your friends is going to look different than with your family or partners, loved ones, etc. And vice versa. Believe in yourself when you do express yourself or hold a boundary. It will feel weird and you may feel uncomfortable. And for people who constantly break your boundaries and you don't feel safe, please talk to a therapist. And we can help you establish a plan to do that. Actually, just call me and put me on speaker. I got you. Me and Scully. Okay.
I think I put fly musk on this morning because all the flies are
When's the last time you showered?
today. But I Apparently, I put something on that the flies
Did
are
you
like,
not use your soap or loofah?
No, I save the loofah for special self-care times.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
So you can tell people your boundaries in a respectful way. You don't have to
Yes.
be in their face.
So there is a difference between aggressive and assertive. And this is what I say a lot of times. So assertive can be, I do not like when you do that. Aggressive can be like, back up, yo, or I'm going to lose it. Like
Yeah.
Hulk smash. That's aggressive, right? So you can be assertive and kind of just, no, I don't appreciate that. No, thank you.
Yeah.
That's being assertive versus aggressive. Like, I'm going to yank those scully hands out of your hands. I'm going to think what I'm going to do about it.
All right. You do you. Be clear and direct. I feel disrespected when you talk over me. Be specific. I'm upset that you told the radio station what I shared with you. Set a consequence. If you do that again, I will have to leave the conversation. And then follow through. Leave the conversation. Or you can say, okay, you did it again, so I'm hanging up the phone, blocking you for 24 hours, etc., going home, all that stuff. This is my favorite part. How to deal with family members over the holidays. I'm so excited. First, you don't have to accept every invite for family functions. Like, if it's just a toxic cesspool, you can be like, nah, I'm sick, I'm staying home. Even though you're sick like 10 years in a row, you don't have to go. Plan an exit time. Be like, all right, I'm only going to go for an hour, and then I'm peacing out. Accept that you can't change or fix them, and it's not your responsibility.
Nope.
Manage expectations. Just know that Uncle Joe is going to be dumb and say mean and hurtful things.
Maybe not use dumb, but
Ridiculous, bananas.
There you
Obtrusive, invasive.
there you go.
Okay.
Better.
You ask friends for advice or set up a time to vent to your friends after you leave. Just word vomit to your friends. And decide your role in the relationship that you want to play when you go home. Am I just gonna sit in the corner and like with scully hands and ignore everybody, or am I just gonna hang out in the kitchen like with your favorite aunt or something? So let's say maybe not your favorite aunt says to you, "You look like you've gained weight." Your response can be, "Looks like you haven't changed." Or you can say, "Yep," and then walk away with a bowl of mashed potatoes and a spoon, then eat it while staring at her. That's passive aggressive.
Just a little bit.
But it looks good in my head. Scully hands. Yeah. Or the appropriate thing you can say is, "Please don't talk about my body. It makes me uncomfortable."
Yeah.
Or you can just call me and put me on speaker.
You're going to be a busy lady if you
I know.
keep saying that.
I know. Let's say your mom says, "Have you lost weight? You look skinny." The appropriate thing you can say, the Katie way of saying it, is, "I know you mean that as a compliment, but I'm not interested in talking about my body or appearance."
We should make that a t-shirt or a bracelet. What would Katie say?
And a lot of this happens after a woman or person gives birth. Oh, you've bounced back. You haven't lost the baby weight, so on and so forth. You've just done an incredible thing giving birth. Like, that is bananas. And so you can just say, "We're not talking about it. Like, let's talk about how cute my baby is." Let's say a family member says, "That's a lot of food on your plate." You can say, "Yes, that is a lot of food. I plan on enjoying it. I hope you enjoy yours." Or you can say, "What a fascinating viewpoint. I've never heard it before. Thank you for your concern." What's wrong with that? I think that's great.
Yeah, I'm just listening intently.
Or you can say, "I'm happy with my food choices and would appreciate it if you would stop making comments about my choices." That's a Katie response. Let's say your brother says you're not drinking anymore. What a bummer. Your response can be, I really enjoy connecting with people through meaningful conversations, and I have a lot of fun just being by myself. I don't need to drink to do that, and I enjoy being present with them.
There you go.
Or you can just smash a beer can over their head. No, don't do that.
Empty or full?
Empty.
Okay.
You can't smash it when it's full.
I was just clarifying.
I don't think you can smash it when it's full.
I mean, you could. I mean, but
It'd
it
be
really
messy.
hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's say your aunt says, when are you going to have a baby? There's lots of things you can say. That's a rather personal question, don't you think? Anyway, how is X, Y, and Z? Your dad says, you still haven't found a job. You can say, I'm still looking, and the search process is working fine for me. If you have a problem with it, you can pay my bills. Don't add that part. Let's see.
I love how you're giving advice, but then you're giving passive aggressive advice.
I'm all about it. Oh my gosh. So when a big emotional topic gets brought up, like abortion, LGBTQ plus, gun control, you have a lot of choices. You can say, I don't agree with you, and I think that this conversation, or this will result in, I don't think this will result in a productive conversation. Then change the topic and tone. You can also say, I will not engage in discussions that discriminate against others. Please stop, or we will need to get going.
So I had actually a discussion with someone this week. And then sometimes you have to just kind of agree to disagree. I don't know if anybody has kind of heard that, but you may come to a point where you will not agree with what I'm thinking and saying, and I am not going to agree with what you are thinking and saying. But mutually, we kind of will come together and say, it's okay that we don't come eye to eye on this topic. It's not going to be worth continuing to get frustrated and flustered because it's not going to change.
Right.
So we're just going to agree that we're disagreeing on this.
Yeah.
Plain and simple. And I think that is probably the best strategy on a lot of the hotter topics. You know, like Uncle Bob, I don't agree with some of your views. You have the right to have those views, but I just don't agree with them. We can agree to disagree.
Or if they say something really outlandish, you can just say, I don't understand. Can you explain that to me? It's my favorite thing to do.
But then those are usually the calls that result in maybe police involvement or
No.
no, you don't think so?
No.
Oh, okay. Just checking.
Okay.
Because this year it may involve the Skelly hands. So I'm just checking.
But that's it for boundaries. Da-da-da.
What about like coworkers?
I don't know. I work from home.
You still have to put up with me. We can still have boundaries over emails.
Yeah. I don't respond to emails after hours because nothing I can say or do is going to change anything.
And a boundary could be like, I ain't responding to this until tomorrow.
Right. This is a tomorrow problem.
We'll still be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right. Well, again, there's going to be a lot more with boundaries. We kind of just skimmed the surface a little bit for you. Hopefully, we gave you some good things that you could say and hopefully could implement in various relationships and different environments in your life. But we are so glad that you tuned in. Please push that button for subscribe. And I guess Skelly Hands will probably continue to join us on K&K Speaks. But thank you so much. We hope you have a wonderful time until next time we see you. Again, continue to check out our channel, spread the word, pass along to people, please. We want to get the word out. A great goal is that we really want to get around the world. Just out, like the psychoeducation that we're trying to do. So if you can get it to Kenya or get it to Antarctica, something like that, that would be totally awesome. That would be our dream. So thank you. Continue to check in, and we appreciate it.
Okay.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.